Let's go back to some of the things that are going on in the world today. One of the things is incredible upheaval in the Middle East and new democracies being formed as we speak. What advice do you think Ben would have to these new democracies in Egypt and throughout the Middle East?
I think the advice would be compromise, that you cannot be an extreme. And if you look at Ben in 1787, at the Constitutional Convention, he didn't approve of the Constitution, but he said, I'm willing to compromise my principles to do what's best for this country. And I think he would say to people, you need to compromise to create an effective democracy.
You say that Ben Franklin wouldn't be very happy with the role of corporate America in our society today. What do you mean by that? What would worry Ben?
Well, I think he'd be amazed at how many corporate jets were sitting out of Dulles, where corporate executives come in to visit their lobbyists. And I think Ben might say, we wrote all men are created equal, not all men in corporations are created equal.
Anything else about the role of corporations in government today?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, we put politicians in an impossible job. To represent their constituents, they need to be elected. To be elected, they need money. Where do they get money? Quite often from corporations. And therefore, their decision process is influenced by the corporations. And I think Ben would be concerned about the influence corporations have. And I would suggest Ben would say, fine, lobbyists are great if they're helping America compete with China, but not if they're looking to get subsidized drugs for Medicare beneficiaries.
Well, and also you have the Supreme Court ruling that corporations have a say.
Well, I think Ben would suggest that to say corporations have freedom of speech would be along the lines of, when we had the Bill of Rights, we didn't suggest that horses could speak, that barns could speak, that corporations could speak. I think Ben might say we're stretching to the absurd the notion of what we meant in the Bill of Rights. The reason I say that is the Bill of Rights was passed to ensure the freedom of Americans.
If Ben came back today, do you think that he would be pleased with how things have turned out so far?
I think after you spent a few months